Whenever I felt emotionally low, triggered, or I was overcome by a feeling of procrastination or a lack of motivation that felt uncomfortable too, but it was very subtle, I knew I had to guide myself back home to my heart. And this is really the very first step that it's a must-know step when you want to empower yourself, when you want to become your authentic self again, when you want to be your true self rather than be identified with your ego mind. So it's really about owning your emotion, knowing this is my emotion. So no more blaming other people, making them wrong for the way you feel, or judge them and think, oh, they shouldn't be like that, they should have never done this, should not said this. No, none of that. So when you're feeling triggered, emotionally low, or somehow challenged, the first step is to come back to your heart. And so there is 3 scenarios that I found on my self-empowerment journey that I had to master. There were triggers, there were false or untrue beliefs, and there were those feelings of procrastination, lack of motivation, can't be bothered to do anything, finding it really hard to stop an old routine that doesn't work and doesn't help me, doesn't get me to achieve my goals, and then to find a way out of that and create a better routine. Okay, so let's start with triggers. That's the first thing, that's the first challenge I won. The emotional triggers that when they come up, they want to pull you down, right? They absolutely want to pull you into their realm of misery, of poor me, of nobody loves me, I'm not wanted, I'm not good enough. And you can feel that. If you're a little bit aware, you can feel that's happening, yes? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you about this actually. And so I was very aware of that there was this pull, this really strong magnetic pull that said, sort of like, says like, come to me, you know, this is really bad, be the poor me now, you've been treated badly, they should have never done that, and so the story goes usually. And I was adamant to stay in my heart. I was centered in my heart a lot of the time, but I was pulled out a lot of the time too. So it wasn't hard for me to come back to my heart. But if you feel like you're just in your head most of the time, it's always up here, la 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 la, then the first step is you need to be aware of that there's a lot of mind chatter going on, and you need to actually move down here into your heart. Breathe into it. And immediately, really, it's much calmer. And then when you're there, you can hold strong, you can stay steadfast in your heart, you can stay centered there. And then you can experience that attempt from the ego to pull you down. You can be aware of it, like you are aware of a noise around you, or you can hear some children shouting over there, but you're not getting pulled into it. And at first it's probably really loud and you can feel that magnetic pull. Yes, it wants to pull you there. But you say, no, I'm staying here in my heart. And I remember that really clearly, how much I had to fight first to stay centered in my heart. And it was really worth my while to practice that. It took about 3 to 5 times. 3 times it was already much better, it was easier. And after about 5 times, I could apply it every time. And this is the first hurdle to jump, to learn to stay centered, to not allow the ego mind to pull you down, to not identify with the emotion that makes you feel unwanted, low, unworthy, not good enough, bad, wrong, and all those things. And instead, you're staying in your heart, where there's peace, where there's calm, where you know you are guided by your love and your peace. And when you stay there, you are in power. When you give your power to the emotion and you allow yourself to be pulled into the ditch, I used to call it the emotional ditch, then you give your power away. Then you lost yourself temporarily. And all that is learning. Nothing is wrong here. Nothing needs to be judged or fixed. It's about awareness of choosing to be aware with the emotion or to be aware in your heart. That's the key. Okay, so that's challenge number one. And then there is the challenge of the negative belief patterns that you have heard so many times. You probably know what they are for you. I mean, for me, it was, I'm wrong, it's not working, nobody wants me, I'm just not good enough, I should do it better, I need to be more perfect. And again, it's a similar thing, but you hear it more up here. This is from the mental body, and you might have done something, an exercise. I love tango dancing, and I used to hear it a lot when I'm dancing. I used to judge myself, oh, you didn't do that very well, that you could have done that better, oh no, you made a mistake again. And that was my inner mind chatter. And then every so often, it would get really loud, and I then identified with it, or for a little while, it took me over, it basically overpowered me, that belief, and I believed it for a little while. And so then I had to realize, oh, wait a minute, this is not the truth, isn't it? That feels not good. That belief doesn't feel good. That's your barometer. That helps you to navigate away from it. Because if it doesn't feel good, it can't come from love or peace or joy. And therefore, you can navigate, you can pull yourself back. No, I don't want to believe that. I don't want to attach to that belief. So I need to, again, detach by coming back to my true self that knows I am love. And those beliefs and those negative mind chattering, sentences are not making me feel good. And they are not loving me. Those thoughts, beliefs are not loving me. And then when I heard them, and I actually really heard myself thinking all that, I stopped. I just stopped it, stopped the whole flow. And again, I decided no more of that. I am now taking back the reins, and I am deciding to allow myself to learn, to allow myself to make mistakes, to allow myself to not get it perfect straight away. And to basically become softer, to let go, and to let things be as they are. Before, it was like a whip behind me. And really, again, that comes from parents, from teachers, from other peers, and from looking at others. Oh, they're better than me, and I need to be better. I need to be like them. So it's always an outside influence that makes you whip yourself mentally, and you are always under pressure, and you're under tension, and there's zero understanding and allowing and loving. It's always, do it now, must do it now, come on, faster. And become aware of that, and just become aware of that. That's enough to start with. Because then you have seen it. And when you've seen it, you can do it differently next time. So that was very powerful. When I heard my own mind chatter, and I realized, what am I thinking there? Oh my God, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then I stopped. And yes, I didn't succeed every time when I decided, now I'm going dancing again, and I'm going to let myself make mistakes. I'm just going to be more relaxed. And that actually helped me immediately to make less mistakes, or just dance more naturally and more with more ease instead of with tension. So, that little step helps a lot already. And then you practice that, and every time you remind yourself, where am I coming from? Where am I thinking from? Ego mind or my heart? And then you course correct yourself. And the last challenge that I felt I had to overcome was the procrastination, the doubting, the not having any motivation. I don't want to do anything. There's too much work, too much effort. I'm not going to succeed anyhow, because that was actually the fear behind those. And it was very subtle. It was like a whispering, really. But it stopped me to actually do a video or write an article or post something on Facebook or whatever. And it would really succeed all the time. I couldn't get out of that manipulation. It was so subtle, and it's the most powerful, actually. When it's loud and it makes you feel bad, it's easier. But when it's so subtle and it's just whispering, it's a mighty, powerful influence, the more quiet it is. And I realized that whispering was actually not mine. It was coming from the outside. And it really felt like there was an entity, a force that on purpose wanted to hinder me to do my mission, to actually get out into the world and share my wisdom, share what I've learned, how to empower myself and how to come out of lack of self-esteem to really embracing myself as I am and love myself truly. So when I heard that, or I felt that manipulation of, you can't do it, you're not good enough, it's not working, I actually realized I had to stand still completely to become aware of that subtle manipulation. I realized that I had to see and feel what I was doing. And you know what I was doing? I was fighting that feeling that was underneath the not wanting to do anything, the lack of motivation. And when I became very still, I was so aware of how I was fighting to not feel that lack of motivation and the actual fear of not succeeding. I was doing lots of things to not feel those feelings, that fear. I was watching films. I deserve to watch a film now, the day's over, let's just watch a film. And it became a habit. And then it was really hard to not watch a film anymore. And that's how I kept myself feeling good. I want to feel good. I don't want to feel that lack of motivation. And I saw that what I was doing, I'd created a new habit that I didn't want. And only by becoming really still and really present with what I was doing to myself inside, that's when I saw it, and that's when I could stop it. And so the minute I saw that I was actually fighting the feeling of procrastination and lack of motivation and fear of not succeeding, I had the energy to get on with something that would reopen my YouTube channel. And it felt really good. And immediately, it was like an hour later, I tried to feel those old feelings and I couldn't find them. And all I did was, I was 100% present to what I was doing to myself inside, fighting what was, not wanting it to be there. And by allowing it to be there, even though it feels really uncomfortable, it left by itself. That's really the most amazing way of coming back to your true self. And it's the most subtlest of the challenges that we have to overcome and master when we want to empower ourselves emotionally and spiritually, and therefore become the director of our lives again. And this is now what I really love to help you with. And I've helped myself with, I've helped clients with. And if you feel ready to step onto your self-empowerment journey and finally feel loved as you are, no more pleasing, no more fighting with reality, fighting with your feelings, and procrastinating on your purpose or on the next steps you want to take, then just leave me a comment, or I will also leave a link to my free calls where we find out whether we are a good fit and whether you would like to work with me one-to-one for 3 months, because that's my offer to help you to go from lack of self-esteem, not feeling confident and not loving yourself, to actually coming back to reconnecting with yourself, to feel your own love, your own peace, your own presence, and to live your life authentically from truth. Love to hear from you, and until next week, and don't forget to love yourself no matter what. Bye for now.